Back at it again, finally. We've been doing some things with fires down in LA County and just kind of put a lot of stuff on hold. So we do have the Holley 4000 finished and ready to be installed. We're going to go ahead, and the first part of this video will just be some coverage of the last few details of that. I'm going to head on over to my buddy Warren's house with the carburetor and a couple of tools here and there and just some extra parts or gaskets, whatever I think I might need. Let's get to it. Off camera, we took some carb and choke cleaner and cleaned up the fuel bowl and the lid, of course. Also blew it out with compressed air. To help get your secondary tubes to seal, I always encourage you to take the brass tube and use a little bit of polish. Any kind of polish will do. Maybe if you've got some Brasso or something like that, but you tell the difference. And just put in some steel wool, especially right there where that tube mates up to that O-ring. Fuel bowl lid here is really loose as far as the O-ring itself, and this one right here especially so. I mean, I can feel it, and probably what happened is the washer's really not sunk down in that bore. These O-rings don't look to be in too bad a shape. Matter of fact, look like it being installed a couple weeks ago, or they don't even have many miles on them. But if you're unsure of things, just replace them. Obviously, they're simple. The O-rings have a tendency to dry out. You also want to test and just make sure the fitment. You just want to ensure you're smooth in the bore, especially for your O-ring and for your washer. Make sure you take all the old dimples out. It'll help you set your washers in. Got it set up here on a 2x4 just because of the top of your accelerator pump rod. A little well right there. This thing won't sit flat, but it's sitting flat here on the 2x4. All right, I have a little bit of trouble here with this one. I don't know if you could tell. I'll just get another lid kind of to show you. There's a lip right in there. You can see both sides have a lip, but the O-ring sits inside, and then that washer is supposed to go down to the lip. Well, these O-rings, I don't think, not as thick as they used to be. And the way kits are these days, even from Daytona Carb, which is a good kit. But what you have to do is kind of reverse stake. So that means kind of bring your washer in with a concave, like bowed out. See, I've got it there. I'm going to push it all the way down as close as I can get to that lip area. And then I'm going to stake it 3 places. Then what I'll do is I'll recess the interior with a smaller socket, and that will push and compress that O-ring. I know there's some old witness marks, but I've staked it in 3 areas here. Then I'm going to bring the interior of that washer, the ID, down into the bore and compress that O-ring. This may look okay because the washer's tight, but the O-ring isn't tight. And basically, this will sit up in there, but there's hardly any drag. Not like the drag we have on our base over here. So basically, I've got a smaller socket. It's going to go over just that inside diameter of the washer and compress that O-ring a little better. We don't need much. You see how that's kind of concave and it's kind of sunken in. So, looks like we have compressed our O-ring. So, we'll take and test this out. Oh yeah, that's a whole lot tighter than it was. That's good. Good seal right there. You can see where we've knocked the crowns down and compressed both of these O-rings, and we'll just test the fit here. And we're looking for a drag. Oh yeah, that's good. That's real good. A little bit of a pop. When you pull it out, washer stays and your O-ring sealing. Nice. Okay, reassembly. What we're going to do, I do like silicone spray for the gaskets. It keeps them from sticking. I'll spray those here in a minute. I like using some white lithium grease, just a little bit on the O-rings here, some of the other places that kind of seal up. It's good to do, especially little little gasket here. Now, when I say a little bit of white grease, I mean just a little bit. A little silicone spray. This gasket here. Notice this gasket here does have a little bit larger hole for what's over here on the passenger side. Make sure you get that correct there. Okay, that's very important. So no need to put anything in the bottom of our fuel bowl. Of course, we're fine. We've got our jets power valve ready to go. We do have a needle that needs to go in here. Also like to put a little bit of oil right here on some of the linkage. Kind of helps it. You can also use white lithium grease here, but just a little dab will do you. Kind of like the old Brill Cream commercials. There we go. I've already tested the accelerator pump when we disassembled the thing, so we should be looking pretty good. All right, next thing to do is to get our float, needle and seat and all that installed. You really want to make sure this is cinched down well. Your seat right here. Of course, you don't want to do anything to damage any of the brass, but seat that pretty well because you don't want any leaks coming out of here. All right, so the path the fuel takes on a 4000 is here at the back of the carb. Come up and take a 90 degree, come up into your fuel bowl, and then you can see where that feed is at right there, and come down in, and of course it'll fill your bowl. So don't be confused by the secondary feeds down here. What's going on is with vacuum control, of course, you know, your lid right here, it'll feed back through these tubes and down, and then feed the secondaries that are here in the back of the carb. All right, this can get a little interesting here. You see how we got a spring here for the float to keep it first from bouncing around in there. But we've also got a pin that's kind of taken through here at the back of the fuel bowl where it pivots. This is your needle, of course, and all it's doing, the back of the needle is riding on this end of the float. So this could be a little bit interesting getting this installed. What I like to do, I like to put the carb on its back. So we'll go ahead and set the carb down. All right, so we got the spring on the dome. We're going to take and make sure it lines up on the top of the spring with that small hole. Snug that up. There we go. Okay. I want to make sure that we can, I have to get out some of my gear to make sure I can set this. I've got a gauge over here to set the float. So, and of course, this carb is ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and run over to Warren's house and put it on his Thunderbird and see what we got. Warren's about 20 minutes across town here.
The destination is on your left, Warren.
Here we are. All right, guys, we're here at Warren's house, and we're going to take a look at this Holley 4000 and getting it back on there. A couple of things we want to do. The car's not really been on the road very much over the years, so we could run into some things that may surprise us. All right, we got new stainless lines, and the carburetor is the best that we can get it off the bench with the initial settings. So let's tackle this. Just going through making sure all the vacuum lines are hooked up correctly. You don't want any vacuum leaks when you get going here. You'll be chasing it forever if you do. So it's very important to get everything hooked up correctly. Important to remember to get make sure your linkage is working correctly and everything's kind of got the space it needs. We double checked all of our lines. We do have one problem here. The previous owner with the distributor, that second vacuum advance, it's all kind of hollowed out there. So anyway, everything else is hooked up. This is just temporary to make sure that we don't have any leaks, any vacuum leaks.
Ballast resistor for?
All right, let's start it up here.
Come on, baby, it's okay. Come on, you got it.
There we go. Yeah, I think that O-ring's the ticket right there. Yeah, that O-ring did it. So.
Still a little rough on the timing.
Oh yeah. We had a little problem here with the cap on top of the needle and seat, and we looked at the fuel bowl before, thought that it wasn't quite as flat as it should be, and so that O-ring really helped it there. Just put a different cap on there, it was fine.
Still got a vacuum leak somewhere.
Probably got a vacuum leak somewhere. I don't know if it's intake manifold or one of these hoses, but we're doing really good. We don't have any leaks. The thing idles half decent right out of the gate.
Yeah, it's got a better idle than it did.
Warm. Need to get it warm and set the idle mixture screws, but a whole lot better than we were. All right, we're not gonna be able to drive it anytime soon, but we are running a whole lot better than we were. We got some vacuum leaks from some of the lines and different things that need to be put back together. And we think the needle and seat just aren't working well together. Float's been set a couple times and it keeps shooting fuel up in there, so we'll get to it. Hey guys, back at the garage here, and just to recap, things didn't go exactly as we planned them to. Some problems, we couldn't find the radiator cap for some reason, and we also had a problem with one of the vacuum diaphragms for that distributor right there where there's a hole that's tapped there for a hard line, and I guess the previous owner, it was all wallowed out, couldn't get that going, so we fired that thing up, but there was some vacuum leaks, some problems there. He's going to go through some of that, Warren is, and try to get a lot of those things rectified for the next time we take a trip. So definitely going to be a part 3, and hopefully we'll be able to get the thing on the road and show you some things about the Holley 4000 and tuning. Of course, the thing idled really well. We're pretty happy about that. Just a couple of the things to do, maybe replace that needle and seat there. I didn't do a lot to the carburetor other than just bring back the initial settings and some of the work you saw on the bench. So we'll get back to it hopefully within the next few weeks. See ya.